Coming up, thanks to Leader Newspapers, all the action from Division 3, 2 and 1 senior football, plus the Under-19 handball challenge. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere. This is SFLTV. Welcome to episode 3 of SFL TV, and joining me at the desk, as he always does, is Dave Hammers-Hampton from Southern FM. Hammers, welcome aboard.
Thank you, Wiz. Wonderful to be here again, and massive weekend of football again. We've seen stuff right out of the top shelf this weekend.
Oh, no doubt about it. The SAS Security SFL Final Series is now well and truly underway. But before we get into our review of what took place last weekend, a special feature for you. Now, you would have seen on Facebook, those of you who've got Facebook, it is absolutely polluted with the motor neurone disease, people tipping buckets of ice on top of each other. Absolutely sick of it, aren't you? And I got...
No. Well, that's a great cause. How can I be sick of it?
A fantastic cause. You know, they haven't found a cure and they don't know what causes it.
I did actually see you get done the other morning.
Well, that's because an old mate of mine from my old football club dobbed me and our executive producer, Rob Sharp, in, and we politely did the right thing before the Sunday footy show on Southern FM out at JBO last weekend. But we nominated, just for fun, the SFL Chief Executive and General Manager, David Knitzel, Matthew Duck. And they were kind enough to go ahead with it, and we've just finished tipping water on them downstairs. Take a look at this.
Okay, so big thank you to Ian the Wizard Doherty and Rob Sharpie Sharp for the Ice Bucket Challenge. We will also make a donation to ALS, and I'll match you $20 from the Sunday radio show. So thank you, fellas. And I'm gonna nominate after this the president of the Dingley Football and Netball Club, Lee Menzel. I'm also going to nominate a colleague in my office, the general manager of the South Metro Junior Football League, Jake McCauley. And finally, I think it would only be appropriate to handball to Matt, because I don't know who my third is. I'll have to think about that.
Well, I will nominate South Yarra Club President Bruce Hill. I'll nominate my fellow colleague here, Business Development Manager Caitlin Gellard, and I will nominate for a third person our partner night and day, our account manager from there, Amy Mecklejohn.
Beautiful, thanks Matty. And finally, I think it's only appropriate given the amount of interest he's got over the footy show over the year, the SFL board member and treasurer, David Coots. Good luck.
Squeeze in.
Well, it looks like no problems. Dave didn't seem to handle it very well, the CEO. But on the other hand, the great Matty Duck, well, I can't say it, Wiz. Can you say it for me?
Oh, I think it was water off a duck's back, Hammers. Anyway, we won't get the sound effects going on that. But the CEO may have injured himself. He flexed up that hard. Apparently, he's pulled a muscle in his neck. So
tomorrow off work, I believe.
Yeah, it might be all week. So we're running the league now, and we're going to make a few big changes. No, that's not quite true. Let's get stuck into what took place last weekend out at Heatherton Recreational Reserve. I got out to have a look at Division 3 second semi-final on Saturday between Mount Waverley and Carrum Patterson Lakes, and a bit of an upset there. But as we look at the footage now, this was a big day for James Goff from Mount Waverley Footy Club.
Of course, 98 goals going into the game.
And he seemed nice and relaxed before the game, had a bit of a giggle with him there, and he ran out in the ground. It took a little while, actually. We got into the third quarter before he managed to put his second goal through to hit the ton, and a bit of a controversial free kick in the goal square. But got the job done, booted 100. That seemed to release the shackles a little bit for Mount Waverley, and they then took the lead. But not to be denied, Carrum Patterson Lakes, they fought back in a massive last quarter. And the final score is Carrum Patterson Lakes 9-12-66, defeated Mount Waverley 8-9-57. And congratulations to the boys from Carrum, and particularly Dalton, who booted 6 goals and was the difference up forward in the end for the Lions.
We did speak to Andy Lucas, obviously, the week before, and he mentioned that he was worried about not having enough avenues through goal, that He thought he might not have had enough. Dolts, as we saw, took a great mark the week before,
Yep.
but looks like he's hit form at the right time as well. And we know what he can do, but as you said, congratulations to him, because 2 years back in the competition, 2 grand finals already.
Great scalp for them there. And also, as we said, congratulations to Goffey for kicking his ton. That's a fantastic achievement. But the premiership favourites leading up to that game now have got a little bit of work to do over the next few weeks. And as you know, Hammers, they don't hand out premiership cups to teams that play well during the year. It's only what you do in September that counts.
Well, the other interesting thing with it is that I don't think it'll hurt them. They've already had 1 game off the Mountain Lions, and I think they might get a little bit of continuity, and I suspect they're going to have another crack at CPL later in the year.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable call. So this weekend, of course, with the other Division 3 result on the Sunday.
It was Lindale knocking Sandown out in straight sets. Disappointing result for Sandown, wonderful result for Lindale.
It is. The final score, Sandown 8-8-56, went down to Lindale 14-9-93. A stunning upset there for the Pumas, and congratulations to them. And the Cobras out in straight sets, which is a bit of a surprise to most of us, one would have thought. But well done to Rod Bedstead and his boys at Lindale, and they go into the preliminary final next weekend against the Mountain Lions. That's a huge project for them, and it should be a ripping game next Saturday out.
Another almost local derby for those 2 teams as well. Not
Sort of, yeah, not too far apart.
away from each other, but gee, that Rodney, he plays his cards pretty close to his chest. He didn't join us last Monday night, and maybe now we know why.
Yeah, I did see him before the Mount Waverley CPL game, just walking across the ground, looking very relaxed about what was going on, and you know, had in the bank that he was going to knock off.
Confidence about him.
Oh, very much so. Very intense man. So it's hotting up in Division 3, no doubt about that. And look forward to this weekend's preliminary final in Division 3, as I said, between Mount Waverley and Lindale Football Clubs. Good luck to both teams, and we'll have a full roundup of that in next week's show. All right, it's time for our first break here on SFL TV, and we'll be back after this very short message.
And welcome back to SFL TV. It's time now to turn our attention to the Division 1 qualifying final from the weekend.
And it saw East Brighton 13-9-87 defeat St Paul 6-10-46 in a big upset victory there. I say upset because of the margin, probably more than anything else, but joining us at the desk is the victorious East Brighton coach, Ben Murphy. Ben, welcome to the show.
Good to be here, boys. Yeah, thanks for that.
The interesting game, Ben, you had full ascendance in that first quarter. The doggies really came at you in that second quarter, I thought, and just going down to the canteen and grabbing a nice coffee at half-time, having a chat to a lot of people, they thought St Paul's might have been that better side at half-time, and people thought they were going to run away with it, but you guys weren't to be denied at all.
Yeah, look, to be honest, I thought it was a pretty good first half from both sides. We probably had control for probably a quarter and a bit, and then they sort of had that 10-minute burst where they got on top, and they've got those forwards that can score really quickly. So they took advantage of that, and before you knew it, you were sort of back to level pegging, and we were a little bit disappointed because we actually thought that we had control of the game for the most of the first half. Yeah.
Now, I've seen you disappointed before, Ben, and I know you're all about defence as a coach too, so I'm sure the boys in your team would recognise when Ben's a bit disappointed. So very much a defensive setup there, and disappointed as they came back into the game. All the hard work done, had to start again.
Yeah, when 50-metre penalty got given away and a shot on goal, which resulted in a goal, I probably wasn't too happy. But yeah, it was good. It's probably good for a coaching staff as well as a playing group to be tested like that, and we had to come up with a couple of answers, and I think we did at the time. Yeah,
You found those, that's for sure.
What about some of the plays? I thought you had some wonderful plays, certainly getting back into form. I thought Duthie was getting back to his best. I thought Hopi in that second half particularly was getting right back on top of his game. You look like, the boys looked like they were out there really enjoying themselves.
Yeah, they were very hungry, the boys, on the weekend. I think they had a point to prove, and those sort of more experienced players like Ben Duthie and Barry Hope probably prickled a little bit, that they've been, called a bit old and slow and those sorts of things. So
they don't like it, do they?
Turns out they're not.
We get called that every week.
Well, I get called old and slow for a whole bunch of other reasons. So they proved that they weren't, and it might be the way to go for the rest of the finals. Get the boys nicely bristled up there and get them a bit angry with what's going on.
Yeah, funnily you say that. Barry got a little bit angry at me because I was bringing him off a bit too much. So if fired up in the second half, and with the limited game time in the first half, he put in a ripper in the second half.
Got him nice and hungry, and of course you rested Big Dean in round 18, and he's come back there and just ripped it to bits.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that. I think Dean's
Played a different role though,
A
didn't
different
he?
role, yeah.
Down forward. Tell us a little bit about that. And was that your idea, or was it a shared
look,
idea?
we've thought Dean's been probably a really good one-on-one forward player for a long time. I think even in 2012 grand final, he probably won the game off his own boot moving forward. And we believe we've got a little bit of depth in the midfield at the moment, contrary to what some others are saying. And we thought it might just be a match-up where we could stretch them a little bit down in their defence, particularly with blokes like Ken Hall and that out. So yeah, it paid off. Whether he necessarily had the impact that he would like, but as a group, a forward group, we definitely had the impact we were after.
Very good, and the big boy booted 3 up forward there. You happy with his form going into the second semi this weekend?
Yeah, Lynchy, he was very good. He could have got a couple more too. He's got good hands. He's well experienced. I think he's played in 4 grand premierships at Old Zavs,
Yeah.
so he's it's not new territory for Big Lynchy, and he performed really, really well. Exactly what we wanted.
Now, looking forward towards next week's game, of course. It is the big game against Dingley.
Yeah.
I noticed quite a few Dingley players were out there on the weekend having a bit of a look. How do you see the matchups unfolding there? I believe you mentioned on the weekend that Williamson certainly played forward this week, but you look at it horses for courses?
Yeah, for sure. He might play more in the midfield this week. We'll just have to sort of see what's going to work. We'll look at that towards the end of the week. I'm assuming they're going with a pretty full list, so they've got some really, really good players to cover, and they've got an outstanding running game, and a lot of that generates from the back half. So we'll have to sort of look at how we're going to set up our forward line to counter that.
And of course, Big Disco, Francis, one of your former players, the leading goal kicker in the competition up forward for the Dingoes this year, and they're taking all before them. Stars on every line. It's a big mountain to climb this weekend.
Yeah, for Disco or for us?
Good response. Excellent response. No, we're looking forward to this game immensely. This is one that we've been waiting for quite some time. So this week at Springvale Reserve on Saturday, the second semi-final between East Brighton and the Dingoes. Get along and have a look. It's going to be an absolute belter. All right, thanks Ben, and good luck for the remainder of the final series, in particular next week, the second semi-final against the Dingoes. All right, in the elimination final of the Division 1 SAS Security Final Series last weekend, it was Cheltenham and Chelsea Heights Hammers.
It certainly was, and time to take a look at that score. It was Chelsea Heights coming from 21 points down at three-quarter time in a fantastic result there for them. 11-16-82, defeating Cheltenham 12-5-77. Collins kicking 4 goals for the Rosellas wasn't quite enough to get them over the line, though.
No, and congratulations to Ben Lockwood and his young team at Chelsea Heights. They've certainly been rebuilding with the departure of some very experienced players over the last couple of years. So that's a great result for them. Getting into 5th spot into the finals and winning the elimination final. So they get a crack next week in the first semi-final.
They do, and of course that is against St Paul's down at Springvale next Sunday afternoon. So can't wait for that one. Should be a cracker.
Absolute beauty. So stay with us now. Let's take a look at Division 2.
And welcome back here to SFL Live TV. And of course, in SAS Security Finals weekend, Division 2, we had the qualifying final on the weekend. Benny Walker joins us. First of all, congratulations, Benny. Great win.
Yeah, thanks, boys. Thanks for having us down tonight.
So Benny, it was Sky 10-16-76 defeated Caulfield 6-11-47. I see you've got a couple of multiple goal kickers there, including yourself, so you're playing fairly well.
Ask the assistant coaches. They'll tell you a little bit differently, but got in for a couple, yep.
So they're giving you a little bit of rubbish, the assistant coaches. They hold the whiteboard on the bench and you're out there doing all the work. And
Yeah, half-time they told me I was absolutely rubbish, so had to work a bit harder in the second half.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Caulfield put up a bit of a fight. Looks like you're in control most of the day, but they've had a crack. I believe they've tried to tag a few of your boys out, which is going to make things difficult for them to kick a winning score, perhaps, but they tried to slow you up. Didn't work. 10 goals for the game was just enough.
Yeah, look, we played really well in the first quarter and got off to a pretty good start. I think we're about 2 goals up at quarter time. Second quarter, we went to sleep a little bit and expected a few of the older guys to do it. And to Caulfield's credit, they fought back well. So, but from half time, we pretty much got our game plan back together and were able to run over the top, essentially, yeah.
The options up forward, obviously you kicked a couple yourself. Watts kicked 3. Tim Barr, one of my favourites, kicked a couple as well. You happy with the spread of goal kickers?
Yeah, obviously we've got Luke McGuinness down there as well, and Big Lay Leona, or the Force as the boys call him, who didn't chime in for goals on the weekend, but they're obviously
play
our
Lukey down
focus
back,
point.
did you? Just 12 the week before and nothing this week. I thought maybe he mustn't have played.
Well, it still gives him an average of 6 a week, haven't
The boys at Caulfield held him pretty well, but you know, he's happy to be the sacrificial lamb at times if it means some of the other boys get down there. So we popped Marty Watts down in the second half, and it's his first game back in I think about 5 weeks, and kicked 3 and loves a goal, the old Foss. So yeah, he was pretty happy with his.
And the big fella Leone, he's a big lad too, isn't he? Speaking of sacrificial lamb, he looks like he ate one before he played.
Yeah, he's a big boy, and the boys certainly play a little bit taller around him. So we love having him there, and you know his hands are really on at the moment. So we're looking forward to him breaking open in a game soon.
Yeah, he looks like he'd be hard to stop if he got going, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, you got to pretty much have someone that's 6'2" and built like a brick house to get on him. So
A brick house, I like that one. Obviously, coming up this weekend now, we've got the big one with Morty Alec. I know players don't like to get ahead of themselves, but obviously these are the ones you really set yourself for now.
absolutely, we've pretty much identified that Morty's the team to beat throughout the year, and the games that we've been setting ourselves for. I think we had him in round 8 and round 17, which they got the better of us, but we've done some work on them over the past few weeks and tinkered with a few things. So the boys are pretty much up and about and ready to go and have a red hot crack this weekend.
Were they all down there on the weekend, just out of interest?
The Morty boys, yeah,
Yeah.
saw a few of them, and I was
Let them into the huddle, did you? Into the rooms or anything like that? Or?
I was daydreaming at one stage at half time of the twos and nearly walked smack bang into Sammy. So yeah, no, the boys were all down there, but they didn't get stuck into us too much. They're not a bad bunch of blokes down there.
Very
so.
good. That goes on a bit. I saw that in Division 3 the week before.
We did.
Opposition teams joining in, just listening in on the huddle. So very community-minded there, just sharing all their IP, no problems at all.
Saw the Hyatt boys down there yesterday as well. So on Saturday.
Yeah.
So yeah, they were in the huddle having
They
a
don't have
listen.
to worry anymore.
Yeah, no, well, they're probably on their Mad Monday around about now. If
Yep.
today was Monday, not even sure what
In fact,
today
my
is.
young bloke was in bed when I was on my way here, so
Well, that's a very soft effort from the other Hampton.
only young.
All right, Benny. Well, thanks for giving us your time for SFLTV this week, and congratulations on the win in the qualifying final. And of course, this week in the big second semi-final against Morty Alec, and a premiership beckons, you would think, for one of those two clubs, with a couple snapping at your heels just in behind. So good luck for this week and for the rest of the SAS Security Final Series.
Thanks very much, boys.
All right, let's take a look at the elimination final, which was played on Sunday out at Jack Barker Oval, and here are the scores. So a 16-point victory for the Hammers at JBO on Sunday, and joining us at the desk now is the Hampton coach Chris Warner.
Thank
Chris, welcome to the desk.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
And the first win in Division 2 senior finals for Hampton since 2003.
Yeah, I believe so. A few of the boys have told me that last night after we had the win. So hearing that's always a pleasure.
Tell us a little bit about the win, Chris, because it was a tough game. You kicked the opening couple of goals of the game, and then Hyatt seemed to have the full ascendancy for about the next 40 minutes. Young Tommy Brown went off, and I think it was 6-2 at that point. You were lucky to get one back right on half time, but from there you really seemed to shut them down.
Yeah, I don't know if they had the full ascendancy. I think, look, they got a couple of real sneaky goals. One, a couple of big clunks up forward, which we couldn't do too much about. Like that, I think they only had sort of 4 or 5 inside 50s for 2 goals, which is a pretty good conversion rate, which is a lot better than what we were aiming for. So obviously, you get your opportunities up forward, you take them, which they did early on, and luckily we were able to capitalise on top of that a bit later.
So you certainly took your chances up forward, Chris. You booted 3 goals for the Hammers, and we saw you a few weeks ago.
Very good too, Wiz. Very
kicking very inaccurately a couple of weeks ago. Had his kicking boots on this week too, Hammers, with 3. And I see Justin Isaacs and young Josh Burbage were named as your best players. Who were your other best?
You could throw a blanket probably over another 5 or 6 guys, Wiz.
Pretty happy with them all.
Absolutely.
Just to take you back, Justin Isaac, we've seen a lot of him over the years. I thought he was very fumbling that first half and missed a couple of takes, dropped a couple of marks that he normally always takes, but his second half was absolutely straight out of the top drawer.
I think once...
Did you get a bit of a lecture from the coach at half time?
No. Justin's one of those guys you don't really need to say too much to. He knows what he's doing wrong, he knows what he's doing right, so you just let him go. And
He doesn't say much himself.
He doesn't say much himself. He's very quiet. So, but in terms of fumbling early, I think that was just the pressure of the game. You know, finals footy, the intensity's high, the stakes are high early. Once the game settled and both teams settled into it, I think both teams tend to settle. Took about till probably half time before both teams settled, and Hyatt probably settled a little bit earlier than what we did. But when we did, that's when Juzzy came to the fore.
Well, I say in finals, the team that settles first is the one that usually goes on to win the game. And this week, of course, in the first semi-final this Sunday at Jack Barker Oval, your boys will be facing up to the Bears from Caulfield in a do-or-die battle, and a place in a preliminary final beckons. So a chance to settle early against Caulfield. You've lost twice to them this year. What's your plan?
I'm not going to change too much. I think the plan we had in place the first couple of times worked early. You know, both times we jumped to a real early lead. In terms of first game, I think it was 5 goals to 1, and the second game 4 goals to 1 the first quarter. Unfortunately, as it proved on the weekend against Hyatt, our second quarters haven't been our strongest point this year, so that's something we're going to be really focusing on this week. But we've got a couple of defensive structures I really need to take another look at that sort of let us down on the weekend, and if I can tighten the screws on those areas, I think we can go a long way to knocking them over.
Did you get a chance to have a look at them on Saturday? Did you get out there yourself with a few of the boys?
It's not going to sound good from a coach saying I wasn't able to get out there and have a look, but I was actually helping my brother move on Saturday. To be truthful, I promised him.
Well, you would have sent the spies out.
Oh,
Sure.
no, I had a few guys having a look, but look, when you play them twice during the year and you've seen the cattle they got in the park and the full cattle they got in the park, and we played them the second time and they had probably 8 or 9 guys out. So I know the guys out. So they're a quality outfit, quality unit. You know, if they get all their guys in the park, they're going to be tough to beat. But you know, it's going to be a tight one, I'm sure.
Well, Chris, thanks for giving us your time today, and congrats on your win in the elimination final last week, and good luck this week in the first semi-final against Caulfield, and expected to be a terrific game. So we'll see you then, and for the remainder of the SAS Security Final Series for Division 2.
No worries, thank you. Glad to
All
be
the
here.
best, Chris. All right, we're going to be back with more after this very short break. Welcome back to SFLTV, and now it's time for the Under-19 Handball Challenge, and coming up this week with Heat 2, let's go and have a look at the action in the handball. And thanks to Leader Newspapers, this is round 2 of the Under-19 Handball competition, and with us today is Cameron Lee from the Hampton Footy Club and Vincent Arena from the Dingley Footy Club. Gentlemen, good luck. Might as well shake hands here before we do, and we'll toss the coin. You can call Cam.
Heads.
What'd you say?
Heads.
Heads. Heads. Is that what you said?
Yep.
What do you want to do? Go first or second?
I'll go second.
He's going to let you go first. Vincent, all right. So now, Vincent, you've just recently played your first senior game for the Dingoes. How did it go?
Yeah, nah, not too bad. The
Yeah.
boys, all got around me. Got me a goal in
Yeah.
once. So yeah, just a really good experience, and hopefully there's more to come.
Very successful year for the Dingoes too. Under 19, seniors, reserves, they're flying. And the netballers too. So, very good. And Cameron? Second year of under 19s.
Yep.
Hopeful to play some senior footy down at the Hammers at some
Yeah,
point.
hopefully next year. Yep.
They're going very well, the senior team, aren't they?
Yeah,
very
very
good.
well.
All right, boys, well, I'll get out of the way. 3 shots with the left hand, 3 shots with the right hand. Are you ready to go? Seven. 3. That's 10. 5. That's 15. All right, geez, I'm going well with the maths. All right, Cameron, for the Hammers, let's see how you go against Vincent there. 5. Oh, that might be a donut. It's still on 5. Oh, 7. Bad luck. So what did we say? 7 and 5 is 12. So Cameron's on 12, and you're on
15.
15. All right, Vincent, the other hand. You ready?
Yep.
Oh, that's a block. Still on 15. That's a 3. You move to 18. And a 7. No, 25 it is. So, Cameron, you're on 12. So you need a few there. You need 13 to tie, 14 to win. 4 to 5, pretty generous 5. Well, that's a block, nearly got the camera. And a 10. Cameron's 27. You're the winner, Cameron. Well done, boys. Shake hands. Bad luck, Vincent. The Dingoes can't win everything, I suppose, mate. But you need to hang around, and we'll see you later on during the final series for another go at the under-19 handball competition. That's all for today. We'll see you next week.
And a good win there, Wiz, to young Cameron Lee. Good stuff from him, but honestly, mate, you're kidding yourselves with that. You can't use it, mate. It's got to go. This thing has got to go. I'm going to bring WorkSafe in here because that...
I promise you we will get a new target for next week. All right? Well, I shouldn't make promises like that. Hope my fingers crossed.
We
but
might
we'll
get
do
a
our
sponsor
best.
on board.
We'll do our best. So, well done to Cam on the handball competition. Now, coming up, some major promotions in SFL land. Now, don't forget, for Grand Final Day for Division 1 and 2, in Division 2 on Grand Final Day, there's the James Bogues Draft longest kick competition. That's your chance to, if you just go to the league website, sfl.com.au, register for yourself and your club, and get amongst it at half-time in the grand final. Go for the big boot, and you could win yourself $750 and $250 for your footy club. So get amongst it. And on Division 1 on grand final
Well,
day.
absolutely. If you don't want to kick it, you can just run. So if you enjoy that part of it more, of course, exactly the same. Jump on the SFL website, download all the information you need to go there, and of course, you'll be part of the grand final sprint with the exact same money available. $750 to yourself, $250 over to the club.
So get
Great
amongst
initiative.
it. Let's see who the quickest and the biggest kicks are in the Southern Football League.
That was
thanks
biggest
to-
kicks, you said.
What did I say?
No, you did.
The biggest kicks, thanks to James Bogues Draft, and a special thank you to those. They make a wonderful product. All right, Hammers, coming up this week's action in the SAS Security Final Series. The under-19s firstly, the second semi-final out at Springvale Reserve. Get out and have a look at this if you can, folks. It's going to be an absolute beauty. That's Bentley versus Dingley, the two top sides all year. It's going to be an absolute belter. And on Sunday at Springvale, the first semi-final between Clayton and St Paul's Hammers.
Well, and stick around at that venue because, of course, you mentioned they're played at Springvale in the morning, so they'll kick off, and then, of course, we jump straight into the second semi-final on Saturday. Dingley again, so expect a powerful turnout from the boys there. They're up against East Brighton, so that will be an absolute cracker. Of course, on Sunday, don't forget we've got St Paul's up against Chelsea Heights in that elimination final there in Division 1.
All right, in Division 2, we see the second semi-final on Saturday at Jack Barker Oval between the Bloods, Morty Alec up against Sky, and that should be an absolute beauty. The first semi-final on Sunday at JBO between Caulfield and Hampton.
And it is all hotting up in Division 3, of course. Karen Patterson Lakes are straight into their grand final, as we know. All we've got left now is a preliminary final. Mount Waverley up against Lindale, and that, of course, is on Saturday down at Ross Street Reserve. The winner goes through to play Karen Patterson Lakes in the grand final.
And expect at every venue, Heatherton, Springvale and at Cheltenham. All the boys are playing for keeps now. We're getting towards the pointy end of the season, Hammers. So look forward to seeing some fantastic footy played this weekend. I'm excited, I know you are. So good luck to all teams performing in this week's SAS Security Final Series. And if you can't get there, make sure you get SFL Live on your smartphone or your iPhone there. It's a web-based mobile app. You can get it by going to www.sfllive.com.au, register, tell them what club you belong to or you support, and get the information live onto your phone. All the scores, you won't miss a beat, including picking up the Southern FM commentary team on Saturday and Sunday. All right, that's it, Hammers, for this week's episode
Another
of
great
SFL
show,
TV.
Wiz.
Of course, plenty of content there, and I'm excited as the finals are coming up this weekend. So we'll talk to you again next week on SFL TV. It's bye for now.